Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Thanks to Tesla app updates decompiling a new software version, we've learned that Tesla's code name for the Robotaxi is Alicorn, which is a mythical winged unicorn or a creature that combines the features of a unicorn and a Pegasus. I'm guessing Tesla picked that as a subtle jab to all of the haters and doubters over the years saying that Robotaxi would never happen and it was all just a myth. And of course, it's also true the Cybercab is indeed a winged creature. But some of the functionality in the code include adjusting and confirming pickup locations, entering destinations, displaying real-time ETAs, managing trip cancellations, and facilitating passengers getting in and out with live updates. There's also access to vehicle controls, dispatching pickups, and confirming pullover actions for a seamless operation. Tesla app updates did say they think that regular owners would be able to enroll their cars and make money at the start, but personally, I am not expecting that. I think at least for the first few weeks, it'll just be Model Y robotaxis that are owned by Tesla. They also told us the ability to use Smart Summon without having to hold the button is finally coming. And I'm sure Tesla will have something built in to handle situations when the trip destination is further than the remaining available range of a vehicle, and they may even have a certain threshold like 20% or so when the Robotaxi automatically goes offline to charge before redeploying. And there's been a lot of chatter about people being reluctant to take a Robotaxi ride, which is fair, but I think once it's proven and the early adopters rave about the comfort and experience and the low cost and the safety and not dealing with an Uber driver, etc., people will fall in line very quickly. So this is an incredibly exciting update as it's yet another reminder that this is right around the corner. Tesla Charging shared an update. They're piloting on and off peak pricing based on live supercharger utilization instead of estimates. The average price will not change, but this should make things more accurate. So rather than Tesla charging off peak pricing during times when the sites are actually busy, and vice versa, Tesla charging on peak pricing when the superchargers are actually plentiful, this will help Tesla to balance that out and charge the proper price based on what's actually going on at supercharger sites. The pilot will only be at 10 sites to begin, but will expand based on feedback and success. They said on average for Tesla customers, our superchargers in Europe and North America are 30% cheaper than other fast charging options. I have not seen what the pilot locations are, and I have not heard if there will be new floors or ceilings for this on and off peak pricing, but I was glad to see this because I know certain people in certain locations have been complaining about the cost of supercharging, and they complain it's getting pricey to the point where you're not saving that much money relative to gas. Obviously, everybody's experience with this is going to vary widely, but clearly Tesla is not trying to make excessive profits from the supercharger network. It's doing everything it can to keep those prices low, but of course they have to adjust based on how much electricity costs. Max from the supercharger team said this pilot would be before a potential wider rollout based on customer feedback. Tesla has, not surprisingly, canceled the Cybertruck range extender as some deposit holders are getting emails. We shared a few weeks back, Tesla removed it from the website, and so at that point, given that it never came back, it was a pretty clear sign this was coming. We can all hope that Tesla's working on a longer range variant with a bigger battery pack, extra range that you don't have to give up vault space for, but it's all just speculation right now. The thing is, even if Tesla were to do that in the future, if I put myself in somebody's shoes who bought the Cybertruck with the promise of this option, it's really not a good look for Tesla to outright cancel it. I would have preferred Tesla fulfill its obligations to those that put down a deposit. And no, it's not the deposit turning into a loan that's a problem, because Roadster deposit holders would be laughing at you. It's the fact that this promise of more range is now gone, and I'm sure people really wanted or needed this accessory for towing or winter or whatever else. So I really don't like when Tesla does this, and yes, other companies do things like this too, but Tesla should be different. So let's give them a week or so to see if Tesla will do anything for deposit holders, but this is certainly a big disappointment for some. Now, I think it's way too early to start saying that Tesla is now less focused on Cybertruck development, but given what we've seen in recent weeks, I think it's at least a thread to watch as we go through this year. Tesla has been trying to trademark the term Robotaxi, but the USPTO said it was too generic. That first application was for use with Tesla vehicles, but there's still a second one for Robotaxi that would be for its ride-hailing service. That one is still under examination. Other applications from Tesla for the term Cybercab have been paused due to other companies pursuing similar cyber trademarks. And unfortunately, one company that applied for a similar trademark is related to aftermarket Cybertruck accessories. But it's not a done deal. Tesla has 3 months to file a response, or the office will abandon the application. Tesla's other applications for Robobus are still under examination. While the USPTO said there were no conflicting trademarks in existence, it refused the application because it was merely descriptive. The examiner wrote the term Robotaxi is used to describe similar goods and services by other companies. But again, Tesla can basically appeal and make its argument. Basically, Tesla has to give the agency specific plans for how and why it deserves the Robotaxi trademark. And the other Robotaxi application for the ride-hail network would cover coordinating travel arrangements for individuals and for groups, arranging time-based ride-sharing services, and offering vehicle sharing or rentals. On that one, no decision has been filed. If you have any experience with trademarks, you know that these can be very subjective, so there's a world where Tesla can make its case and then ultimately get it, so we'll wait and see. Benchmark put this out on the US and Ukraine minerals deal, and I think it had some important info. Benchmark identified 18 rare earth element deposits in Ukraine. 4 key sites are estimated to contain up to 1.6 million tons of resources at a value of about $106 billion at current prices. As for other minerals, manganese and graphite have been mined in Ukraine, but several manganese projects and the only operational graphite project have been paused due to labor and energy shortages stemming from the war. They said even though Ukraine has critical mineral potential, the country's business case for mining and processing looks challenging. Plus, the outdated geological data makes an accurate economic impact assessment of Ukraine's mineral resources challenging. As a result, it'll take years to develop Ukraine's economically viable mineral reserves, and therefore it's hard to see additional critical mineral supply coming from Ukraine during Trump's presidency. I had postulated that it would probably be a few years before we see any benefits of this deal for a company like Tesla, so just wanted to share that Benchmark has effectively confirmed that that's likely to be the case. There's a trend happening between China and Europe where Chinese EV brands are now exporting a lot more plug-in hybrids to the EU in order to avoid BEV-specific tariffs. Those BEV tariffs are set to be in place until 2029, and these Chinese EV makers face no tariffs exporting plug-in hybrids. The charts at the bottom go from January 2024 to January this year. The yellow lines are full BEV and the orange lines are plug-in hybrid. So the Chery brand has gone from 0 plug-in hybrids per month last year up to about 800 per month in Q1 this year. You can certainly debate if people that are in the market for a plug-in hybrid would also be in the market for a full BEV, but I would say this trend at least slightly reduces Tesla's direct competition across Europe from Chinese full BEV makers. But yes, it's also true that some of these Chinese companies have costs that are so low, even with these tariffs from the EU, they can still export and make a profit on certain BEVs. I think it's a bit early to celebrate anything here, but Trump did say that India has agreed to drop its high tariffs to nothing. He said India has one of the highest tariffs in the world, we're not going to put up with that, and they've already agreed to drop it. Again, I want to be clear, this is nothing official yet. It's really just the outpouring of the negotiations that have been taking place for months. I'm sure some of you remember Vaibhav Taneja said that these tariffs from India on EVs like Teslas create customer anxiety and basically double the cost of Tesla vehicles in India. So of course, if something like this were to happen, that would be a huge deal for Tesla, but as we've seen over the past 2 years, the homegrown automakers in India like Tata Motors and Mahindra have been been vehemently pushing back against India dropping these tariffs even a bit. Specifically, the offer from India was 0 for 0 tariffs on auto parts and steel from the US. So if that were to be the final deal, then it probably would not cover finished cars like Tesla's. But it's true, the US is pushing for 0 tariffs on finished cars, so we just have to wait and see how this all unfolds. But at least directionally, this was encouraging news. We all love how Tesla never rests nor gets complacent. They're always innovating and making efficiency optimizations endlessly. So I'm actually pretty excited to share what I'm about to. There's another company that's operating following similar principles to Tesla. That company is AG1. They just dropped an all-new formula, AG1 Next Gen, after multiple gold standard clinical trials. Yes, they're the sponsor of this video, but they just demonstrated this new formula's positive impact on common nutrient gaps in gut health. In a randomized placebo-controlled trial, AG1 Next Gen increased key nutrient levels within 3 months, including folate and vitamin C. AG1 Next Gen on average was shown to increase healthy bacteria in the gut by over 10x. On that point, AG1 Next Gen now includes 5 clinically studied probiotic strains and an enhanced methylated B complex. Then, as part of AG1's commitment to innovation and research, they're now investing more than $20 million to support future peer-reviewed independent research on the complete formula of all future AG1 products. So, if you'd like to check out the upgraded formula and get some free travel packs and a 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2, you can head to drinkag1.com/electrified linked below, or you can use the QR code on the screen. Cheers. Last night, Tesla North America shared the Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive is now available in the US. 357 miles of range, which is up 20 from the outgoing comparable version, and it's also 1 second faster for the exact same price. And of course, all of the other upgrades we've talked about, starting at $44,990. I'll admit, I'm a big sound system guy for vehicles, and now Tesla's offering the regular sound system even with this rear-wheel drive variant. You get the more premium sound system that has 15 speakers and 1 sub, compared to the more limited sound system that they usually offer with rear-wheel drive vehicles. So for me, that's a very nice inclusion. I'm sure many of you have seen the headlines about Tesla sales cratering around the world, in China, across Europe. So one more time to make it clear, Tesla has still had very limited inventory across the EU of the new Model Y. There may be some pockets of slower production of this new Model Y, and it's going to take weeks, if not months, to restock all of these locations. But also, in certain geographies, the actual trim levels that Tesla has been able to offer have also been limited. In the US, we just got the rear-wheel drive, and we still don't have the performance. So in my opinion, given everything else we've covered the past few weeks, these year-over-year comparisons are foolish. We will refocus and dial back in, reassess the situation closer to the end of Q2, and most likely further into Q3. Some more potentially big tariff relief news. China has decided to agree to engage with the United States on trade. China's Vice Premier will hold talks with our US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent during his visit to Switzerland. These negotiating talks are set to take place from May 9th to the 12th. So at the very least, the US and China are back at the table this week. We have Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, saying they're more likely than not to kill the consumer tax credit for EVs. I think there's a better chance we kill it than save it, but we'll see how it comes out. He said details of the plan for the energy credits would be revealed later this week, but he acknowledged the difficulty in reaching a consensus on the fate of the credits as well as the EV credit. So you're saying there's a chance. This was a pretty awesome milestone and a long time in the making. Number one, for the first time ever, Tesla did more than $5 billion in revenue from Australia in 2024. And the second milestone, for the first time ever, Tesla made more money from its battery division, as that leapt nearly 5-fold to outpace the money it earned from EV sales. So Tesla's battery revenue in the country from the installation and the sale of batteries, both the Megapack and the Powerwall, and from the operation of those batteries, jumped nearly 5-fold from from $580 million in 2023 to $2.55 billion last year. In Australia, revenue from EV sales and leases was down. In 2023, it was $3.18 billion. Then last year, it was down to $2.44 billion. But we can now say that Elon's prediction about Tesla energy has finally come true, at least for one country. In Australia, Tesla's battery business is now bigger than its electric vehicle business. So that's a huge milestone and really a sign of things to come, especially for any countries that end up being laggards with autonomy. The CEO of Li Auto was praising Tesla's FSD publicly. What we can see is that Tesla's fundamentals are very solid. In the AI era, mastering the fundamentals is essential and cannot be skipped. That's noteworthy because there are many analysts out there that seem to think all of these other companies are going to be able to skip plenty of the steps that Tesla has gone through to get to where they're at. Now look, will they be able to shorten the learning curve relative to what Tesla had to do? Absolutely. But there's still going to be a multi-year grind at a minimum to achieving true generalized autonomy. So this idea that other companies are just going to flip the switch and end up where Tesla's at is nonsense. Up in Canada, Northland Power has announced that the Oneida energy storage project has commenced commercial operations. This is now the biggest battery energy storage facility in operation in Canada. This article chose to leave out what battery system was used for this project, but a bit of digging shows us this Oneida project does indeed use Tesla Megapacks. So Canadians, you're free to shout about Elon all you want, but you can't deny he is helping stabilize your grid. Zach shared a useful video of the new adaptive headlights for Tesla in the most recent update. So you can see around the turns, certain pixels turn off so that you don't blind the car ahead of you. We got the wholesale number for Tesla China for April. It came in at 58,459. So year to date, January through April, the wholesale number is now down 22.4% year over year. And remember, this prior reading column would just be the reading before. So in this case, it would be the reading for January through March. So we're ever so slightly heading the wrong direction year over year based on the April results. But as I said earlier, this data is very noisy. I think it's time we all tip our cap at least a bit to Volvo, as they've now crossed 5,000 sales of their semi-trucks since debuting in 2019. Volvo said its electric trucks have found customers in 50 countries around the world, the biggest markets being Germany, the Netherlands, the US, Norway, and Sweden. Volvo Trucks now has 8 battery-powered models on sale globally. I think Tesla's semi-ramp may surprise some people, so I'm guessing sometime next year, Tesla will surpass this milestone. Rivian just cut its delivery forecast for this year, citing tariffs. Rivian now expects to sell between 40 and 46,000 cars this year, down from 51,000 before. Rivian's CFO, a company that we know makes all of its EVs here in the US, said the company is expected to incur a couple $1,000s in additional expenses per vehicle as a result of tariffs. On a positive note, Rivian did confirm plans to achieve a modest positive gross profit for this year. Just remember, gross profit is not even close to the same thing as an actual profit. In Q1, Rivian produced 14,600 cars and delivered 8,600. Production is expected to be lower in the second half of this year as they get ready for the R2. Some Cybertruck owners are now getting a 1-year trial of FSD for free. But they did say auto steer will not be available for Cybertruck outside of FSD. Tesla stock closed the day at $276.22, up 0.32%, while the NDX was up 0.39%. It was a very low volume day, trading 47% below the average. And another reminder, if you'd like to check out my other venture, I'll have the links in the description below and on the outro screen. And don't forget, for those interested, check out AG1 Next Gen, linked below. And as always, thank you in advance if you do. Hope you have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X, linked below. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.